Why are you guys so
Hi Lauren, what's up tuber? You think you're gonna I'm joking with you, you know what's up tuber you're gonna join. Huh? What's the Oh, I'm gonna go around randomly. What's up? To apply? Oh, 200 people turned in our written application. 84. This year we're accepting 86, but we only have, I don't remember how many returning members. I think. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be telling you guys. No, half of them drop off. Some people drop off. You don't.
If you want to join
Pressed it. Pressed it.
Called the applicant slip.
Alright, hello everybody. Welcome to the 2016-2017 Paly Robotics Student Info Sessions. Thank you all for being here. Awesome, we have a full room. This is the first time that's happened in a while. My name is Kenny. I'm the team captain this year, and I'm joined with the team leadership and most of our team actually here to talk about how you guys can get interested in the team and how you can join. So I'll give a quick overview of what the afternoon is going to look like. We're going to start off with a 30-minute, maximum 45-minute presentation here. It's going to go through what our team does, the different groups in our team, and the last half of it is going to be about our application process, so how you guys can get on the team this year. And then after that, we will be going on a lab tour. So we'll have our lab manager Shota come up. He'll split us up into groups, and we'll go over, and we'll show you the equipment we have, the resources we have. And then after that, we'll hand out application forms. So you guys stick around to the end to get your application form. and we'll give you directions on how to proceed through there. Just a quick note, if you have any questions during the presentation, just hold them off till the end. I think just to shorten down the time that you're sitting here, we're actually not going to answer questions here. We'll answer them either after the tour, or you can ask them to two group leads as they walk over to the lab. So just hold on to your questions. We'll have plenty of time afterwards to answer them. And all right, I guess that means we can get started. So let me start with a question to all of you. So when I say robots, what do you think of? What are some things you think of? Come on. Yes. Machines that do things. Anybody else? Maybe an example? Something you've seen in the news? Come on, help me out. Yeah, you go.
Self-driving cars.
Yeah, self-driving cars. All right, so yeah, do more. Yeah, sure. So that's the DARPA Robotics Challenge, right? Yeah, so that's good enough for now. So we have all those examples of what robots are, right? They're machines that do things, machines that think, self-driving cars. We have robotics competitions, like you mentioned the DARPA one. And I guess what you're going to see over the course of this presentation is that Paly Robotics is all those things and so much more. Next slide. So the first thing we want to talk about is how our team is what we like to call more than robots. So, yes. So first and foremost, we are a first robotics competition team. That's the picture in the center here. We'll talk a bit more about what that program is in the next slide, or in the next couple slides. Pretty much, it's a robotics competition where thousands of teams across the world come together and build robots that play robot games. That's what we do primarily, but we actually do a lot more, which most people don't know about. So most importantly, we do outreach. So our team goes to a lot of demos. We have a summer camp, like there. I think some of you guys might have been a part of all that. We take spreading STEAM and STEM to the community very seriously. We also have an art team, which is pretty unique to a robotics team. They do our shirt designs. You can look around. We have different variations of shirts. They make our banners, and they make our robot look awesome. And they also have an award-winning animation program. So you'll hear more about that later as well. And we have Zero Robotics, which is another competition. So it's kind of like FIRST, except it's software only. So it's a virtual robot that you can program. And our team last year actually was #1 in the world. So we're really proud of them for that. And lastly, I want to talk about is the community you're joining when you join this team. So we're not just a bunch of nerds that build robots. We're not. So we hang out together after school. We have sleepover parties. We have similar interests, and we go to competitions together. So when you sign up, you're not just signing up for a team that builds things, you're signing up for a community. And this also extends to the greater FIRST community as well. Because, like I said before, it's thousands of teams across the world. So they have a lot of infrastructure in place. We make a lot of connections with people that don't go to this school. I know sometimes when I go around, I see other people wearing robotic shirts, and that's the way you connect with them. There are also many opportunities for internships and scholarships for college. So, yeah, we're more than robots. All right, so now I'm going to hand it off to our strategic director, Lauren, to talk about our mission statement.
Hi everyone. So, I actually don't have a mission statement memorized. Robotics' mission is to inspire and grow broad-based engineering skills, teamwork, and work ethic through leadership, management, and operations performed exclusively by us, the students. So that's a lot of words, and you're not expected to know that by heart, but it kind of gets to the heart of what we want to sort of show on this team is that essentially the team motto for all of us is just work hard and have fun. It's important to do both, and I think that a lot of times in the team it can be really difficult to work hard and have fun at the same time. So I think that basically what we want to do is we want to just make sure that everybody is learning and growing in these very important skills. And so I hope that over these next, hopefully 4 years on this team, you won't just learn how to be a better engineer or be a better artist or be a better business person, but you'll learn how to be a team worker, a team player, and you'll be able to take those skills and bring them out into the real world in internships, in your future jobs, in anything that you can apply them to. These skills are applicable not just to robotics, but to your entire life. And so I hope that you keep that in mind as if you decide to apply on the team, because it's really an amazing experience that has definitely changed my life on the team. I'm a senior, and I'm sure that it's changed the lives of pretty much everyone else on the team this year. And so, yeah, it's just kind of what I want to take away forward.
Thank you, Lauren.
All right. see the robots, right? So let's talk about that. So like I said before, first and foremost, we're a FIRST robotics competition team. FIRST stands for Inspiration and Recognition of Science and Technology. That's kind of a clunky acronym, but that's what it is. Like I said before, it's an organization of about 4 levels. They have levels ranging from elementary school, which is mostly Lego-based, up to their flagship program, which is called the FIRST Robotics Competition, which is the one that we're a part of. It contains about 3,000 teams across the world, across 80 countries. The teams ranging from Israel to China to South America. And the way it works is that every year, in January, they release a new game video, and it details like a new kind of robot game, right? So a couple years ago, it was kind of like basketball. I think last year, or 2 years ago, it was stacking boxes. And this year, it was a medieval-themed dodgeball game. So from that day, we get the challenge. We have 6 weeks to build a robot to play that game. Everybody in the world, it's the same time frame. And then after that, we go to these huge competitions. They can range from happening in NFL stadiums all the way to school auditoriums. They're massive events ranging from 60 teams to 600. And we come together with all these other schools and clubs, and we play the game and see who's the best. So I think you guys rather see it rather than hear me talk about it, right? So let's watch this quick 2-minute video.
Competition is a fun, challenging, inspiring science and technology program for kids, grades 9 through 12. It's one in a progression of 4 programs that make up FIRST, an international organization founded by Dean Kamen, designed to foster 21st century life skills and spark kids' interest in science, technology, engineering, and math, so they become future leaders in these fields. In the FIRST robotics competition, teams of high schoolers are given just 6 weeks to design, build, and program a robot capable of playing a challenging field game against other robots. But it's way more than robots. It's about learning new skills, working as a team, practicing respect, making new friends, finding out what you can do, and having fun. In addition, every participant is eligible to apply for tens of millions of dollars in college scholarships. If you'd like to join in or bring the FIRST robotics competition to your area, visit us on the web.
All right, maybe go back a second. So who here has heard of BattleBots or watched BattleBots on TV? Yeah, a lot of you, right? So what you might not know is actually the team that won BattleBots last year. It was that blue robot. I forgot the name of it exactly. But that robot was actually built by the coaches from a local FRC team that's in San Jose. So like BattleBots, the skills you learn are similar. First is more constructive rather than destructive. But the idea is there, when you build a robot, play games with it, and then you have to fix it up when it breaks during competition. So if that's what you're looking for, that's what FIRST can do for you. All right, All right, so now we're going to briefly go over the different sub-teams we have. We have 6 of them, each covering a different aspect of robotics. We have our design team, our build team, software, business, web, and art. So I'm going to have the captains of those respective sub-teams come up one at a time and talk about their group. So we're going to start with design. Charlotte is our design captain, but she couldn't be here this afternoon, so we have a design member, Brian, who's going to do that.
Hi, I'm Brian. I'm a sophomore. I'm on design team, as you can tell. And as you can also probably tell, I'm not Charlotte, as Kevin said.
Yeah.
So design team focuses on the conceptual design of the robot before we actually build it. So it's split into brainstorming and sketching, prototyping, curated design, and part drawings. So brainstorming, I'm sure you all know, you come up with ideas, you evaluate them on a design matrix, and then you sketch the best ideas. So this year, during summer, we were planning to do a catapult-based robot, and with some other mechanisms that you'll should learn about if you get on the team. And then we made a prototype of that. As you can see, we make prototypes with anything from wood, metal, plastic, elastic, anything. And then we have a design review of the prototypes, and then we choose the best design that we want to build on our robot, and then we create it in a 3D modeling software called SolidWorks, which also enables us to make part drawings to hand off to the build team to manufacture. So next, I'll introduce our build captain, Devin.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. There we go. Okay, hi guys, I'm Devin. I'm a junior on the team and I'm the build captain. So build team's main job is to take a robot concept that's in the form of a CAD and turn it into a reality. So we start out given that CAD and we have to go buy all the stock materials. So we go to these warehouses on the side of 101 and get these 10-foot lengths of stock aluminum box beam and sheets of plastic, and we get to manufacture that into robot parts. So the way we do that is we have a lot of cool toys in our lab. If you guys have seen welding or people using a lathe to turn a part, we have all of that stuff. So we've got a welder, a lathe, 2 mills, a CNC, which is like a computer-controlled mill, 3D printer, laser cutter, and tons of other machines that help us make all of our parts. So once we started manufacturing all of the parts, we start to have to assemble them. And the way we do this is we have nuts, bolts, rivets, anything else you can think of, zip ties, and of course, everyone's favorite, duct tape. Because duct tape has saved us in so many instances. So we'll assemble the robot, we'll put it all together, but if a robot's just a piece of aluminum sitting there, it can't really do much. So then we have to add all the wiring. So FRC gives us some basic components, but we have to wire them all together, test them, make sure everything works, make sure nothing's going to blow up on us in the middle of competition. And then once that's all done and the robot's fully functional, we hand it over to programming. So programming writes all the code and whatever, and then they start testing. But of course, they're going to break the robot somehow, okay? So then it's build team's job to kind of bring it back, fix it up, make sure everything's all good, and then we hand it back off. And so that's how build season works. Come competition season, in the pit at competition, it's kind of a similar thing. But it's a lot more stressful, but also a lot more fun. So robots come back from a match. We've got 10 minutes, fix up the drivetrain, fix the wiring, turn it around, and send it to the next match. So build team is pretty action-packed, and it's really awesome to be able to work with such a great group of people. I'm going to hand it off to Nihar now, who's going to talk about prototyping.
Thank you, Devin.
Okay, so I'm Nihar, I'm a senior, and I'm the software captain, so that means I'm in charge of the software team. So as Devin mentioned, our primary function is to make the robot move. And so as you can see, we read the joystick input and sensor inputs from the robot, and we turn that into control to move all the mechanical parts that are on the robot. So to do this, we break up the code into multiple subsystems. So each subsystem is one part of the robot that does a particular thing. For example, the shooter will be not in charge, but it will shoot the boulder at the wall, as you may have seen in that video. So we'll take that part, and we'll have a sensor on that build has put on, obviously, and we'll figure out what angle the shooter is currently at. And then we'll give it commands to run the motor, bring the shooter up to the correct angle, and then shoot the boulder, and that's how we score points during matches. So not only do we have a subsystem for shooting, we obviously have the drivetrain to move the robot around. And so by combining various subsystems, we get more complex interactions and a lot of cool programming tasks. For example, auto alignment. So this stands for when we put the robot in front of the goal, and we have it automatically aim and shoot at the goal. So to do this, we have a camera on the front of the robot. We have to take images and figure out what the goal looks like. So this may not look at all like a picture of a room, but it actually is a room, and there's duct tape that has reflective tape, in fact. And our camera returns us this image. We have to do vision processing to look at it. We figure out where the goal is. We figure out what the angle to the goal is. And based on that, we tell the drivetrain how to turn precisely to get to that angle and shoot and score. So those are the types of things that you'll be doing. So the skills you'd be learning are, some of you may have heard of programming languages. We use Java and Git. Java and Python. So those are two very well-known programming languages. And to put all our code together, because we are a large team working together, we use a version control system. It's called Git. You'll learn all about it when you join our team. And that's how you can share your code with other people and work together. So that's how we all get together, get the robot working. And of course, we spend a lot of time testing the robot. So I hope you'll check us out at Pick Us Up Team Day. And now it's on to Annalie with business.
Thank you, Nihar.
Hi, I'm Annalie Suhu. I'm a junior, and I'm the business captain for Paly Robotics. So on business team, if Paly Robotics was a business, then business team would be the entrepreneurs. We do a lot of managing, and we write the budget, we write the business plan. We actually have won 2 awards for our business plan. And so really on business team, you gain real-world business experience. We contact our sponsors, which are on the back of our shirts, such as Google, Dropbox, and NVIDIA, and we organize the outreach projects, which is a large part of what we do. So we organize when we visit local elementary and middle schools in their science fairs, and we do robot demos. Business team organizes and plans. So these are 3 photographs of us at Google, and on the other side is Intuitive Surgical. When we got to visit 2 of the headquarters for our sponsors, and then the middle is our team at competition holding the Entrepreneurship Award, which is an award that business team won for our business plan. So some of the really fun things about business is that you get to have real-world business experience and a lot of student leadership experience. So business team is really fun, and we're really close and get to do fun things together. And this year we'll be applying for the largest award in FIRST, which is the Chairman's Award. So you also have the opportunity to present a really large award in front of judges, and it's a really cool experience. So go business. And now to Madeline for web.
Thank you, Annalie.
Cool. Hi, I'm Madeline. I'm a junior, and I'm the web captain.
I'm Alex. I'm a senior, and I'm the web project manager.
So web does what you probably think it does, which is we maintain the website created by the previous web team. And although web doesn't come into contact with the robot, which is the main attraction of our team, it does engineer the first interactions people have with us, which is through our website. Now, aside from working on the Paly Robotics website you see here, we've also helped others, such as the Lawrence House for Positive Change, and we're currently working with the Paly alumni community. And to be on the team, there are a couple tools you need to know, and Alex is going to tell you something about that.
So we use a lot of different tools in order to create our websites and maintain, structure them, stuff like that. There's divided into 4 basic groups. You have your basic code that you use to create the website, HTML and CSS. Your back end, which you use Ruby on Rails, Jekyll, and content management systems. And you also have your front end tools. Foundation is what we use for our PalyRobotics.com website. And the 4th is also what programming team uses, a version control system called Git, which we use to collaborate and have different versions of the website that we can put up and take down at will.
Alright, so over here you can see our website. It's very beautiful. And if you love creating beautiful websites, join Web Team. If you love being able to reach people around the world, join Web Team. And if you love influencing people's daily lives, join Web Team. Because who doesn't use the internet every day? And next up we have art.
All right, thank you, Madeline and Alex.
Hi, I'm Maya. I'm a junior, and I'm the captain of the art team. The art team has 3 different sub-teams inside of it: the animation sub-team, the sketching and storytelling sub-team, and the graphic design sub-team. So the animation sub-team creates animations for 2 competitions every year: the First Safety Animation Competition and the Dave Lavery Animation Competition, which we've won won awards for these last 2 years. And the sketching and storytelling team creates storyboards for the animation team, as well as they also do like set designs and character designs. And they also have their own projects. Like right now we're trying to do this mural project, and we're going to see if we can get a mural up on the side of the lab. The graphic design sub-team creates all sorts of swag for the team, like the shirts we're wearing right now, and also the posters you might have seen around school. And
you can see the back of your jacket.
Ta-da! And all sorts of cool stuff like that. So, yeah. Okay.
All right, thank you, Maya. All right, so that's the brief overview of our 6 sub-teams. I'd like to speak something briefly before we move on, which is how the way we do things on robotics, it teaches you application of your skills. So you guys have all been to like math and science classes where you have those silly word problems, right? You're like, why am I doing this? This word problem would never happen. I'm sure we all had that. But I'm here to tell you that at robotics, it's a place where you can apply those skills you learn at school and apply them to like a real world project. So for example, I think maybe in math you calculate using parabolas and stuff, like some stupid problem, some guy shooting like a firework or something, right? But at robotics, for example, we have to shoot that ball right into our goal. We actually have to do this math. And it's not just for the sake of doing it. We're doing it to figure out how much power we need to get the ball in the goal, right? So that's just one example of how the skills you learn at school can be applied to robotics. And this is what sets us apart from maybe other extracurriculars that have science and technology in them. So now you see we have such a huge, wide variety of things you can do on the team. You have to wonder, right? We have so many people, so many things to do. How does it all fit together? So this is why we have what we call management positions. Just like a large company, we have to have managers that make sure everybody's working together and everything comes together at the end of the day. So I'm going to hand it off to our 2 manager positions that we're going to talk. Starting with our, I think it's lab manager, which is Shota. Over there.
Okay. Hi, I'm Shota. I'm a junior at Paly, and so like Teddy said, I'm the team lab manager. And my primary, primary objective of my job is to get the lab to be a place that can be used as efficiently as possible. So like, for example, I work a lot with the build team. Like Devin mentioned, we have like a lot of machines in the lab, but after a while when you use them, they get like really oily, really like worn out and stuff. So it's my job to keep those maintained as best as possible so that when build team is using them the most, like during build season, it's functional. We don't need to like stop the machining process and stuff, and delay our schedules. I also work on ordering stuff. Like right now, we're waiting for a 3D printer, new 3D printer, and so yeah, that's my basic job, and I'll be handing it off to our team project manager, Johnny.
Thank you, Shota.
Hi. Hello, my name is Jonathan. I'm a senior, and I'm the team project manager. So not all of you guys are probably familiar with project management. It's the idea that with a large number of projects and a large number of resources, you need to have some sort of top-level management that plans out your projects before they happen, that tracks their project, that tracks their progress, and that can give updates and recommendations to how to ensure that project gets finished as accurately as possible. So what I have images here are some samples of some tools I've used. There's a Gantt chart, the calendar, a list of tasks, an upside-down, burn-down chart. These are just tools I use to track the projects the team does. So as you can imagine, with a 6-week deadline to build a robot, it's important that we don't fall behind schedule. My job is to make sure the different groups on the team can coordinate their work and give updates on where we are, so there's better visibility within the team about the progress on each of our projects. So that's it for the different functions on the team. I'm going to hand it off to our assistant captain, Simran, now to talk about the year in the team.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Simran. I'm a junior and I'm the assistant captain of the team. So the way we've broken down our schedule, so it happens every year, we've broken it up into 4 different sections. So the first section, which is upcoming, is the off season, and it starts the day that we finalize our roster. That's September 29th. And what happens during the off season is we actually are going to finish building our off season robot. We go to 2 off season competitions, and so it gives you a precursor to what competitions look like and how those run, and it gives you a pretty good idea of just how the team works in general. So we'll be training all of you new members so you know exactly what to expect on your sub-teams. And it's just preparing for build season, which is the next section in our year. And so mentioned, our build season is 6 weeks long. So we have 6 weeks to build the robot. And we get our challenge on January 7th. And it's a very hectic time of year. And I'll go over the time commitments for each season. The build season is probably one of the most fun and definitely hectic, super exciting. You learn a lot of new things and you really get to bond with the team. And after that, we have a competition season. So this is where we really get to see if our hard work has paid off, which it always does, even if we don't win. And we usually attend 2 regional competitions, and regionals are like the first level of competition with like 40 to 60 teams, sometimes even more. And if we do really well at our regionals, we will go to World Championships, which will extend our competition season to late April. And if it doesn't, it'll end April 9th, around then. And then our last season is the summer. This usually starts right after our competition season ends, so it's not totally correlated with our school summer. But this is where we do a lot of our projects, so you guys can learn as much as you possibly want to. We have a summer camp. We do a lot of outreach over the summer. It's sort of like a relaxing period for you just to get to know more about yourself and like about the team and to learn as much as you want to about robotics before we get into actually preparing for building the robot and all the other seasons. Okay, and here is a lovely table of the time commitments. So during the off season, we would expect everyone to come in around 6 hours a week, and the lab will be open Thursday, maybe Tuesday, and definitely over the weekend. And the time straws will come out later. But that's what we expect for you guys to get the most out of the training that we're going to be giving you, and for you to be really prepared for build season. For build season, we would expect you guys to be here around 15 hours a week, which would be for 6 weeks, 100 hours total. And this is sort of a recommendation for if you meet the 100 hours, then you can come to competitions. That may or may not happen, but just be aware of that. 100 hours is pretty much the minimum needed to really get a lot out of your experience during build season. And it might depend on your sub-team, how much you want to commit to it, but that's our recommendation. Competition season is a little bit less hectic, so 10 hours a week. And the lab will be open just a little bit less than build season. And then we also go to 2 competitions, so you can expect to probably miss school a couple of those days. And in the summer, there is no recommended hours, but that is a time to put as much as you want or to take a break. And we recommend taking a break because the first 3 seasons are really hectic. But the lab should be open during the summer. It definitely will be open during the summer. So you can expect to be able to come in and work on whatever you want. And I'm going to hand it back to Kenny. Yes?
What's TBD?
Oh, to be determined. We don't know exactly what days our lab will be open during build season, but almost every day. Yeah. And I'm going to hand it over to Kenny to talk about how to join the team.
Awesome. Thank you, Simran. All right. So now we got you guys all interested about Paly Robotics. We're going to talk about how you can join the team. So briefly we'll talk about an overview. Then Johnny will come up and talk about the parts of the application. Lauren will come back and talk about expectations for what we want from new members. And then I will talk about our team size. So we'll start with overview. All right, so how do you join Paly Robotics? So there's several steps that are listed out here. We're going to list all the dates in the next couple slides. Don't worry about having memorized them. On the application, there's a half sheet that's stapled with all the dates you need. So don't need to write them down or anything. So first of all, after you leave for today, what do you do next, right? And that is to show up to pick a sub-team day. So these are days that you come into the lab, and each individual sub-team will have their own kind of intro activities set up. There are 2-hour sessions, and you'll stay with that sub-team for 2 hours. They'll give you a more detailed overview of what they do. Most of them will have you actually maybe do a little bit of basic programming and do a little bit of basic CAD work, stuff like that. Those 2 days are going to be this Thursday from after school until 5, and this Saturday from 3 to 5. So try to make it both days if you can. It's a good way to get a taste of maybe 2 sub-teams you might be interested in. After that, the next thing to do is to turn in your application packets into room 903 by September 9th. So 903 is our lab. We'll go there later. And that is, I believe, in about a week and a half or 2 weeks. The application packet itself, you'll get it at the end of this end of this tour. We'll hand it to you guys. And just make sure you get it in on time. It's for us to be able to process them efficiently and also for you to show that you're dedicated. All right. So next up, we have to talk about how we can't actually accept everybody that applies. Yeah.
Are you gonna send an email or something with like the dates?
Yeah, there'll be emails. Don't worry about it. The dates, you'll know what they are. So we can't really take everybody that applies for the team because of space we have. We can't effectively teach everybody and have a safe environment for everybody who applies. So there will be a member selection process. The way this will work is that you will have to pick one sub-team that you want to be part of. You should go to that pick a sub-team day. You should go to lab hours and work with that sub-team. And then that sub-team captain will make a recommendation to Mr. Kuzmal for you on that sub-team. And Mr. Kuzmal will ultimately make the final decision and make the final roster. That final roster will be posted on September 29th outside the lab. Yeah, that's it. You want the next slide?
All right, so I'm going to talk about what's in your application packets. So you guys are going to get these at the end of today after the lab tours. If we don't have enough, there'll be extras in the lab in the next week. So there's 6 parts to this application. First part is the applicant information. This is basic information, contact, name, grade, pretty standard stuff there. Not going to go over it. The second is a participation contract. This is for students who want to join the team to sign. It is agreeing to commit to a minimum level of hours. We do require that from all students applying to the team. The third section is a parent agreement. We're going to go over this a bit more with your parents or guardians if they're here, but parent agreement is just an acknowledgement that your parents or guardians recognize that the team needs the support from adults to run. We need adults to drive us to competitions, to supervise us, to provide us with food when we stay late. So the third section is an agreement that your parent or guardian understands that about the team. Fourth section is a media waiver. That's just an agreement that we can use pictures or videos of you and promotional material. Fifth section is your sub-team selection. So it's a half sheet of paper where you will indicate the top 3 sub-teams you wish to join in a ranked order. You can put down up to 3 sub-teams, but you will only be considered for application to the sub-teams that you put down. So we do recommend you go to the pick a sub-team days so you have an idea of which sub-teams you'd like to join. The last section is the personal statement. So the personal statement is up to 400 words for you to tell us about yourselves. So we have 3 prompts to which you may respond to any one of those 3 or any combination of those 3. You'll see this in the packet. The 3 questions are, why do you want to join the team? What do you hope to learn from joining the team? And what unique skills can you bring to the team? And we want to emphasize that, well, this does sound a little bit like a college essay, that our personal statement, we're really trying to get as much information as possible. So we ask, don't give us a metaphor or some description of how your entire life has led up to joining the robotics team. We want 400 words, get as much information as you can in there. General rule of thumb, don't spend more than 1 hour on this personal statement. We don't need it to be, we're not grading you, we're not grading this, we're not looking at the level of writing, we're looking at the content included. And then a final reminder that the completed packet stapled together with all 6 of these sections is due September 9th in room 903. That is the robotics lab. If you guys don't know where this is, the math and history building, if you look on the side by the bike racks, you'll see the robotics lab. We have big signs there. And if you have any questions about this application, you can always ask any of us, and we'll help you out.
All right, this is a clarification about, we want to take questions at the end if possible.
Yeah. And I'm going to give it to Lauren to talk about expectations from team members.
Hi, so can I just get a gauge, like how many of you are freshmen? Oh, okay. Any sophomores out there? Nice. Any juniors? Nice. Any seniors? Okay. So I just want to tell you a little story about the skills learned skills and sort of intrinsic characters. So let's say there's 2 people. There's Jimmy and there's Charlie. Now Jimmy, he has cured cancer when he was 9. He is, he's been building robots his entire life. He came here and said, I really just want to build a jet, which I already have at home. Jimmy is like a prodigy. But he comes into the lab maybe like once 10 minutes or so, kind of looks around, kind of scopes out the area and leaves. Okay, Charlie on the other hand, he really doesn't know anything about robotics or any of the skills here. But he comes every single day and he comes willing to learn. He may not be the most gregarious person in the room, but he's willing to learn, willing to talk to people and get to know this team better. And he's really willing to put in the time and the effort to start learning these skills. And so what this is trying to say is that we don't necessarily want Jimmy just because of his skills. We would rather have Charlie because Charlie has those values and that willingness to work and come in and learn as much as he can. And so when we look at your application and we look at choosing members on the team, what we're really looking at is, are you dedicated? Do you seem like you actually want to be here? And are you willing to put in the time? You may not know all the skills that we're willing to teach. We're willing to teach you. That's part of the process. But we do want to see those values that can't really be taught. And so, again, we're looking for people who will stay with us throughout high school. And so that's sort of, if you want to, so my best advice, I guess, for getting on the team is really just show that interest, because that's really going to be the defining factor.
Alright, so last thing in this category is going to talk about the team size and how many people we can accommodate. So our team this year will be, in total, 84 members. That's a lot larger than actually most FRC teams. About half of those, about 40-some, are filled by returning members, which are students that have been here the past couple years and who've shown the dedication and who we are guaranteeing a spot on the team for next year. That leaves about 40 for new members. At least 16 of these new members will be new freshmen. What it looks like here, though, like the vast majority of you are freshmen, so more than 16 will probably be new freshmen this year. That's just the number we set for sustainability in the coming years. So that leaves about 40 spots for new members. Here's a breakdown briefly of how many people each sub-team wants to take. If you're a nerd and you've already added it all up, you'll know it doesn't add up, the number. But that's because there are some, I guess, coder spots that will be distributed. These are just approximate numbers. These are plus or minus numbers, so don't take them too literally. So art is going to take 7 people, build will take 8, software 4, design 5, business 7, and web 5. So notice that some teams will take more people, some will take less. This is either because of their current team size or because the nature of their work just allows them to include more people or be a little more, like, I guess, focused on having more individual people do the work. Yeah, that's that. It's for your consideration when you're picking what segment to apply to. You can take questions at the end. And then, yeah. All right. So that's it for joining the team. If you have any questions, once again, I know some of you did after the tour or during the tour, just ask your tour guide or come up to one of us that is leading a tour group. We'll be happy to answer your questions. The application packet, once again, you'll pick up after the tour. All right, so once again, just a quick, brief summary of dates and what you want to do next if you want to be on the team. First off, very important, is parent info night. So that is tonight, right here, from 7 to 9. So we want as many parents as possible to show up so they know what you're getting into. We're also going to be talking about how they can be involved in the team, talking about that volunteering aspect that allows us to run. So if your parents don't know about this yet, please let them know. 7 to 9, right here.
A little point on that, just to make it clear. Absolutely, we need your parents to support you, but your parents being the super gigantic, amazing volunteer helper will not help you get on the team. And your parent who is, you have a single parent who works 2 jobs and can't come into the lab at all, that will not hurt you getting on the team.
All right, the next 2 things quickly are pick a sub-team days. Like I said before, these are those 2-hour sessions for you to kind of figure out which sub-team you want to apply to. That's going to be this Thursday and this Saturday at those times listed above. And the next date, I guess, is the applications due on 9-9 and 903. And lastly, roster will be posted about 4 weeks from now on September 29th. All right, so now we're going to have Mr. Kuzma is going to come up, our head coach. He's going to talk about some things, and we'll go into our lab tour after that.
Thank you, Kenny. Let's try that again. Thank you, Kenny. Cool, great. Well, I am tremendously proud of this robotics team and leadership that you've seen today. I'm not sure I have a single thing to add other than what I interjected, which actually I could have saved until now. I didn't quite realize I forgot where we were. I don't even have to add what, I mean, the main thing I might typically add is what Lauren was talking about, which is that what we value is creating a community here. You are here to have a rewarding experience as much as possible. You are here for each other. You are here to have purpose, and you're here to have joy. So, I guess one of the things is, there's a lot of focus, a lot of anxiety at this time of year about making the team and what do I need to make the team, and that's natural. It's understandable. Understand that you, regardless of whether you make the team, are welcome in the robotics lab. If you come in and make yourself a part of the community, you will be part of the team in one way or another. So if we are piled up and we can't fit everyone in the lab, then we have to make decisions about who will be in there. And we may have to make decisions about whether or not you can go on a road trip. But to be part of our community only requires that you come in and be a civilized part of the team. And there's no application process for that. So I'm delighted to see you all here. And I don't know what we do next.
Yes, I can take it.
And so I'll give it back to Teddy.
All right, thank you, Mr. Kuzma. All right, so I'm sure you guys are ready to stand up and walk around, right? So we're gonna. Hey, not yet. All right.